Hello, I'm Kaylee, I'm a social worker. So today's video is going to be a bit different to my normal videos. It's going to be quite relaxed because I'm actually preparing for an interview this week, and I just thought I'd have a bit of a chat about how I'm feeling myself, because I've actually got quite a few messages lately about people saying that they're struggling with interview anxiety. And I suppose I was just thinking about the fact that since I put some of these videos out, people seem to think that I'm like super confident. And I think I come across that way sometimes, but actually I've really struggled with interview anxiety myself. So I feel that I can really empathise with how people are feeling. And with it being only a couple of days ahead of the interview I've got, it's just like those normal feelings of, what if they ask me something I don't know? What if I look stupid? What if, you know, and then I know that on the actual day, I always feel a bit more calm because I know that I've like prepared a bit, and I just think something that I tell myself now is I put a lot of pressure on myself to really prepare, but I think you have to remember that you've been preparing for this interview through, you know, all the studying that you've done, the experience that you've got beforehand. It's not like, you know, just spending a few nights before is the only preparation you've done. So I think it just helps me to put it in perspective in that way. So yeah, but I think on the day I'm going to be doing my usual tact of bringing a notepad and just having a pen, so that if they ask me one of those questions that are really hard, you know, those ones that are like 2 points within a question or 3 points just because they're trying to throw you off. No, I know that they might not be, but it feels like that, doesn't it? Sometimes what I do is, if I am struggling and they've asked me a really long-winded question, I just make a couple of bullet points while they're asking. And I've found that I've never had any negative feedback about that. So I might jot a couple of words down, because sometimes you find that when you're in that stressful environment, you can just forget the question entirely, or you're so focused on one part of it that you just don't answer the second part, and then you don't get enough points to actually score well in the question. So I decided that I was going to do that to take control. So I always have that in my mind, and I always make sure that I'm going to bring some water with me, because now with the COVID pandemic, they're not able to provide drinks and things. So thinking about that at the moment. Obviously the little things like getting your outfit ready the night before always helps. But yeah, apart from that, I've been making some notes about how I'm going to prepare. So thinking about the skills and experience question, I always feel like, although it sounds obvious, sometimes it can throw you off because you start going off on tangents. So I tend to write myself some bullet points about key things that I want to cover in that question. Usually the first part of it is around why you actually want the job. So I tend to just write myself, and what I'm going to do for this is just write the reason why I want it just on a piece of A4, just usually like make it 3 or 4 bullet points or something, and then I'm ready to say it. And then in terms of my skills, I think I'm going to begin by saying that I've got skills within various areas of the service. So I've worked in a health team, and I've worked in community, taken long-term cases, done reviews, worked under time pressure. So that's helped me to be able to do assessments under the Care Act. So then I'm thinking, someone gave me some advice the other day, and they said even in that question it's good to say that you're doing assessments under the specific area of the law that you're practicing within. And then so say when I bring in about the Mental Capacity Act, I'll say the Mental Capacity Act 2005, I'm confident with doing assessments under that law, and that I'm a best interest assessor, so that helps me with actually putting together those reports and doing those assessments. So I'm going to be thinking about things like that, and yeah, using my actual experience to start off with what I say, and then say that I work well under pressure, that I've got good organisational skills and things like that. But I'm going to really try to weave in some examples within it. So like, for example, I've just got a note here where I've put communication skills, verbal and written, and then I'll probably link that into how that actually benefits my practice. Because remember, the interview's about actual what they want to know, that you're going to be good at the job. So this is where I'll look back at the job specification and see what they're looking for. So I'll be saying that I'm good at, so my verbal communication skills basically help me with working within a team. They help me communicate effectively within a health team, and they help me to get services for people and articulate why people need those services. And it also helps me to negotiate with like third-party charities and things to help people get support. Negotiation skills, I might like add in a few examples there where I say that sometimes with health you have to negotiate, for example, around continuing healthcare, identifying when people need health funding, or negotiation skills with charities. I've had a situation where someone who needed to get into employment wasn't being supported by the charity, and I just needed to speak to them and find out the reasons that they weren't going to do that, and then try and give them the best opportunity to get support. And then the same around alcohol services. Sometimes you have to negotiate to help people get support from that. So yeah, I'm just thinking around actually using these real examples as I'm saying what my points are. So then I've got here that around managing my workload. So I'm really well organised, and I have a system on Microsoft Word where I use a table and use colour coding and things like that. And people have recognised that that helps me to be really organised for supervision. And I'm also good at managing my time even when I'm constantly distracted through the day, because with working with the health team and being one of the few social workers there, I get a lot of phone calls. So I think it's like using an example but then adding context. So yeah, and then I'm going to just do some preparation around obviously law, theory, legislation. I'm thinking about a couple of case examples. So far I'm thinking about situations where I've dealt with conflict with other professionals, dealt with conflict with the people that might be my peers, like other social workers and things. And then if I've had a time where I've had conflict with people that I'm trying to support, or people didn't want my involvement. So I'm trying to think of like situations like that and thinking about how I'd manage that. One thing that I've done this time is I've written a couple of things about examples of theories and examples of models, because I sometimes find when I'm asked that question about what's a theory, can you tell me about a theory or a model, or they ask me like that, I just find it like under pressure, it makes my mind go blank. So what I'm trying to do is just give myself some titles and think beforehand about whether they're a theory or a model. Yeah, and then I'm thinking about supervision and stress, how I manage that. And yeah, lots of other things, but I thought I'd just check in today and just say a few things that I'm working on for this. So yeah, thank you.